My name is Bruno Velazquez. I'm the animation director on God of War Ragnarök. One of the biggest things that we wanted to accomplish was definitely conclude the story of the Norse saga and see where the relationship of Kratos and Atreus goes. We also wanted to ensure that there's a lot more characters. We doubled the amount of characters that we have in the game, but also enemy variety, bosses, and more kill variety. So I'm really happy that we were able to deliver that. One of the biggest things that we got feedback from the first game is that people wanted to have more enemy variety. So now we have a lot more enemies that you will fight and mini bosses, as well as a lot of new abilities for Kratos. Some stuff I can't tell you until the game is out, but definitely there's a lot more combat options for Kratos, and he will encounter a lot more characters throughout this story. So everything's just bigger and better, and we just added a lot more scope to the game, which we're really happy with. We started making God of War Ragnarök for PlayStation 4, and that was our goal, to make the best PlayStation 4 game that we could ever make, right? We wanted to take what we did on 2018 and just expand on it. One of the biggest things is we wanted to ensure that you visit all 9 realms, because in the previous game you were sort of teased, but now you get to go to all of them. So everything that we set out to do on the PS4, that was our goal, like we were able to accomplish. So the PS5 really is just more of a enhancement of the game that we already have. So now you have like 3D audio, the haptic feedback, the frame rate and the graphics look so much better on PS5, but the PS4 is better than 2018. So that was really our goal, to just make a great PS4 game and then just have an enhanced version in the PS5. There's no compromises. You're still going to get the same experience on both systems. When Kratos, aims his axe and then, you hold down the trigger to aim, you really feel the tension on the controller, right? So little things like that enhance the combat, make it feel like more visceral. You feel the rumble on the controller, which is a lot more higher fidelity than the PlayStation 4 version. So those things will really make the combat feel a lot more powerful. But also throughout the cinematics, we ensure that as you're watching and experiencing the story, you get that haptic feedback as well, so that you're more immersed, even in gameplay and the story. It doesn't matter what part of the game, we make sure that cover as much as possible of the game, so that you get that feedback, so you can visualize, hear, and feel the game. We want to make sure that we had a lot more variety of enemies that you encountered, because in the first game we had a lot of humanoid characters. Now we have a lot more monsters and creatures, because we had a little bit more time after we created the first game. Now we have dragons and monsters that are like a lot more fearsome than the first game. So because of that, now we have weapon specific kills. Like, so for the first time in God of War, depends on what weapon you have in your hands, you will get a different kill against different enemies. So then this way you can experiment, like, oh, I'm going to switch to the blade, I'm going to switch to the axe, and I'm going to have a different finishing move. You're going to encounter a lot more surprises, and maybe perhaps if you go off the beaten path, you may encounter some optional fights. If you just play the story, you're still going to have a lot of fun and have a lot of great fights, but I would recommend players really go and explore, and then you may encounter some new enemies and new creatures and monsters that you haven't encountered before. So it's going to be fun to see players' reactions to finding those hidden little enemies that are around the world. That's what the animators really love more than anything, right? So we definitely have to look at a lot of reference that inspires us from real life. So there's a creature on one of our trailers that's this big lizard that almost looks like an alligator that's leaping at Kratos, right? So that's the Dreki. That's one of our new creatures. So of course we looked at a lot for that one. We looked at a lot of references from crocodiles and from alligators to ensure that we get that movement, the motion of it running on the ground. Of course, some things we have to be more creative, like you don't see an alligator leap through the air like that. So we, as an animator, have to add those kind of special little extras to make it even more impressive. A lot of it is, yes, inspiration from movies, TV, and from real life. There's so many movies that the animators will bring for reference, but of course, there's recently, Game of Thrones have had some really epic dragons, right, with a lot of weight. So we love watching, TV shows or other movies that inspire us. Of course, Jurassic Park, you always have the dinosaurs, that are very impressive with a lot of massive weight. We have some creatures in our game that are going to be very, very big, like Kratos has to encounter. So we wanted to make sure that we felt that big weight and then make those enemies really threatening and fun to fight against, for sure. 3 years in the story have passed since the ending of the previous game. So over those 3 years, Kratos has been training Atreus and teaching him how to fight with Kratos' style. But at the same time, Atreus has developed his own style because he's more of an archer. But you're going to see in this game that Atreus has also learned how to use his bow to strike and do combos as well. And now that he's a teenager, he's older, he's a little bit more confident. You're going to see a lot more agility, and he's very fast and nimble, which is a nice contrast to Kratos being the big, heavy, strong guy, right? So now you're going to get to appreciate a little bit more of that confident Atreus. At the ending of the last game, Kratos came to terms of being a father. He had a hard time connecting with his son. Now he really is connecting with his son, and training together for 3 years, surviving out in Fimbulwinter has brought them a lot closer together. So now it's the opposite. Kratos is having a hard time letting go because his son is getting older. He's getting more curious. He wants to find out about what it means to be Atreus, what it means to be Loki. He wants to discover more things. And Kratos realizes that he needs to let go of his son a little bit, right? Because he's older and he wants to find out more. So he's having a hard time because now my son is growing up, and like every parent, that's a difficult time.